Good evening, everyone. The time is now 6:02 p.m., and I now call this regular meeting of the Goose Creek Consolidated Independent School District Board of Trustees to order. Mrs. Guy, was the meeting posted properly?
It was.
Thank you. And do we have a quorum?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. I have a little housekeeping to start. I'm going to rearrange the agenda just a little bit. If you would indulge me just a moment, we're going to move item 7H, which is consider superintendent search process timeline and related matters with search consultants and related action, if any. I'm going to move that up right after 5A, so that'll be toward the beginning of the meeting. Everything else will remain the same. With that, Mr. Matt Flood, I will turn it over to you.
Good evening, President Campisi, school board members, and Dr. O'Brien. We welcome you to the September 8th, 2025 Board of Trustees meeting. We're glad you're here with us tonight. At this time, we will begin with our opening ceremonies. The prayer will be offered by Mr. Clem, followed by the pledges, which will be led by Mr. Martinez. We invite everyone to please stand at this time.
Please bow your head. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful day you've given to us to celebrate life with again. I ask your special wisdom and guidance on this board as we guide through this new process we're going to begin up on tonight, searching for our next superintendent. Also pray for your guidance and wisdom on all the many other decisions we have to make tonight. Finally, I pray for our community, that everybody stays safe on their way home, and that we have the most wonderful start to this school year. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen.
Thank you. You may be seated. At this time, I will turn it back over to Dr. O'Brien and the Board of Trustees.
We do have one item for recognitions and acknowledgments, and I'm going to claim that opportunity to recognize someone. And I'm also going to remind the audience that we were going through a global pandemic at the time, and most everyone was wearing masks. And so I forgot to honor our outgoing president, Mr. Richard Clem, in 2021 and 2022.
Better late than never.
Mr. Clem, I'm going to leave it up to you on whether or not this gavel works at home or not.
I might just leave it here.
I'd just like to say real quick, I came on the board when Mr. Clem was president, and I learned a lot from him. But to think back, before my time on the board, when he was the president working through COVID, sitting where I sit now and just imagining the leadership that required, I congratulate you on that, and the full board back then. So thank you again for your service, and we apologize it took so long to get that to you.
Extend the fun.
All right, next item on the agenda is citizens participation, item number 4. Citizens participation is the time that the board will hear public concerns or public comments from those who have properly signed up to address the board. At regular board meetings, the board shall permit public comment regardless of whether the topic is an item on the agenda posted with notice of the meeting. General public comment is limited to no more than 30 minutes per meeting. At all other board meetings, public comment shall be limited to open session items on the agenda posted with notice of the meeting. Each speaker is reminded that he or she is limited in his or her presentation to a maximum of 3 minutes, which can be further limited or reduced by the presiding officer. and that he or she should respect confidentiality concerns and refrain from attacking the personal character of any individual student, staff member, or board member in addressing concerns or comments. Pursuant to state law and board policy BE Legal, the board cannot consider or take action on concerns at this meeting unless they pertain to an item on the posted agenda for this meeting. Any deliberation or decision on an item that is not posted for consideration at this meeting shall be limited to a proposal to place the subject on the agenda of a future meeting. With that being said, Ms. Garcia, we have one registered to speak. All right, thank you very much. The speaker is Brandon Terry. If you would, please approach the microphone. Our secretary, Ms. Guy, will keep time at the 1 minute mark. She'll remind you have 1 minute to speak, and the time will start when you speak. If you would, state your name and the subject you're speaking on.
Brandon Terry, the naming of the field house, the new field house at Star Wars Stadium. I don't know what it is about this chamber, but 5 years ago, we had a board member that went into Houston on NPR and called our founders racist. And my aunt took exception to it then, and we take exception to it now. No one condemned his hate speech. The district said nothing. The Baytown Sun said nothing. I confronted them at the board meeting. Again, this was 5 years ago. Got it on the record that no matter how much this person wanted to be true, it was not true. And at the previous meeting, we had a speaker that said if we did not support a currently serving board member for his name to be on our new field house, that we were racist. Nothing is further from the truth. It has nothing to do about race. You guys delayed the decision to do more research. In your research, you would have found that no currently serving board member has ever been honored, ever. It's not saying he's not worthy, but he's still in office. Has nothing to do with race. Again, we're talking about a field house in Baytown, Texas, that was hired by Dan Stallworth, the name on the stadium. No other nominee has that tie. This gentleman served 40 years in our community, working in a field house in Baytown, Texas. Why shouldn't this man be honored? He's 90 years old, has 2 sons, and still lives here in Baytown. Has nothing to do with race. Nothing. And you will find hundreds of people around town. I made a Facebook post on Russell Hammond's
1 minute.
Baytown History with a Twist. Got hundreds of responses. Had one that even commented, Goose Creek is in George Crow's heart. No statement is truer than that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Terry. Thank you, Ms. Guy. We'll move on to item number 5, approval of minutes. I present before you the minutes for the August 4th, 2025 regular board meeting. What is the pleasure of the board?
I move to approve our minutes.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Mrs. Barat-Timms and a second by Mrs. Guy to approve the minutes. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, show of hands. Seeing 6, 4, 0 against, the motion carries. As I discussed at the beginning of the meeting, we're now going to insert item 7H, which is consider superintendent search process timeline and related matters with search consultants and related action, if any. Dr. O'Brien, if you would introduce our panel, please.
We would like to invite up Mr. David Thompson and Dr. Mike Moses to our front table here. And please just press the button at the front of the microphone. When the rim at the bottom turns green, that means you're live and ready to go.
And while y'all are getting started, let me just add that this is the very first beginning process since we've entered into agreement with Thompson and Horton to help us in this search process. This is the beginning. They're going to give a presentation on the process, what we're looking at moving forward, and have some open dialogue to kind of set the stage for our goal to hire a superintendent in the coming months. So Mr. Thompson, Mr. Moses, thank you for coming.
Well, Mr. President, members of the board, thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to work with you as the board goes through the very important process to make a decision on your next leader, your next superintendent here in Goose Creek CISD. We know that Dr. O'Brien has performed outstanding service. Randy, you sure you're ready to move on to something else? And, y'all have done a lot of great things here in the district together, and we believe this is going to be an outstanding opportunity for your next leader. But we do recognize the importance of the decision for the board. The board did hire us to help you with the search on August the 4th, I believe. And this is the first opportunity, Mr. President, as you said, for us to have a public discussion about it. But we do want the board and your community to know that we haven't been standing still in the last month. The position is being actively advertised already, and we've already begun to receive a few applicants. We fully expect the real interest to pick up now that schools are back in session and we kind of get on this side of Labor Day. But we're already getting inquiries. We're already talking to potential candidates. We've been doing that since we were engaged, and we are beginning to receive some interest already. So we think your great work here, your reputation, and the opportunity provided is going to give the board a good group of candidates to consider. What we would like to do tonight is two parts. First of all, discuss in public with the board and for the benefit of your community the process related to your search. And then we'll be here later for any necessary closed session conversation. And as I've said to, I think, to a couple of the board members, but again for your community, when Dr. Moses and I work with boards on searches, we follow what's known as the 4 Ps. Process in public, people in private. So any conversations about process, timelines, things of that nature, we'll have those discussions here so your community and staff can be engaged and follow that. And then as provided by law, any discussion about individual candidates or potential candidates because of their privacy interests under the statutes, we'll have those conversations in closed session. Just a little bit of background, since this is our first time to meet with the board. Dr. Moses and I are longtime personal friends as well as just professional colleagues. We've worked together for many years. Mike was superintendent. He was commissioner of education most of the time that Governor George W. Bush was governor. Texas Monthly did describe him as the best appointment that Governor Bush made. Live up to that, Mike. But when his term ended, he and I had always talked about what are some things that we could do to work together to help school districts all over Texas. And we thought assisting boards with searches was something where we could maybe provide some value for districts. So we began doing that in 2000. In the last 25 years, we've worked with around maybe slightly over 200 boards as they've gone through searches. It is not a full-time undertaking for us, but we're always honored when boards give us the opportunity to assist them through this important process. We want to say right up front, we are not here to pick your next superintendent. That is the board's absolute prerogative. We will always have that in mind, and we will always respect that. You are our client, not the candidates. Our job is to give you a great pool of candidates to consider, to prepare you for every stage of the process, including all the interviews, background searches, et cetera, that may go in to the process, and to actively recruit on your behalf to make sure you have strong candidates to consider. Also, part of the process will be to get input from your community so that you know what your community's priorities and expectations are. But I would also say right up front, just as we are not going to try to impinge on the board's prerogative to select your new superintendent, we will gently remind your community that that is the board's role and responsibility. You will get input, you will get information from your community. We'll know you'll take that seriously, but it will ultimately be a board decision. And we know y'all are going to work hard. You're going to put in many, many hours. I suspect your community may not understand how many hours the board will devote to this process over the next few weeks. But we know you're going to take it very seriously, and we're honored to work with you through the process. And by the way, my dad was a teacher and administrator his whole career. Our two daughters are teachers. I tell people I couldn't get either one of them interested in being an attorney. They both had higher career aspirations. So we're proud of them. Mike and I do this because we truly believe in public schools, and we truly appreciate the opportunity to support those of you who give so much of your time and energy to serve on boards and in leadership roles in your communities. Mike, anything you want to say by way of introduction?
No, I would just, a couple, 2 or 3 things. It's very good to be in Goose Creek Consolidated ISD, good to be back in Baytown. I've had the privilege of being in your district many times, both as commissioner and as a colleague, and this district has a very rich legacy, and we acknowledge that, and in fact, we get to favorably represent that, and so we're honored to do that. I think I had the privilege of visiting with some of you and told you I've had family in public education for 77 years in Texas. Mother and dad and mother-in-law, father-in-law, brother, sister-in-law, wife, all teachers, and some even have been superintendents. And so, and board members. My oldest son has been a school attorney. My youngest son's been a school board member in Round Rock ISD. So guess what we talk about at Thanksgiving? I think we hit all the bases. I'd add my congratulations to Randy for his service here. I very much appreciate him and his leadership, and I've had the privilege of getting to work with him on a few occasions, and those I've always found enjoyable and pleasant, and I think he's given great service here. I think David's pretty well summarized what we're trying to do. I always say that the superintendent selection, there are a lot of duties in the Texas Education Code that are assigned to the Board of Trustees, particularly the approval of the budget and a few other financial matters, but the hiring and the selection of the superintendent of schools is probably the greatest responsibility. It goes like this: if you get that decision right, a lot of other things go right. And if you get that one wrong, then a lot of things don't go well. So we want to make sure that we help you get a great pool of people that you can consider and look at and help make the decision. As David said, it's your search, it's not our search, but we want to make sure that we create some interest in the marketplace among school executives and school leaders that will make them be interested in this job and this position as well. They should be. David, you want to talk
Sure.
about, you want to go to?
Mr. President, if you'll let us, and y'all please at any time, if you have things you want to make sure we touch on, but if it's okay, what we would, just in the interest of time, we would move now to the timeline and maybe have a little conversation about that. And I want to say up front, a timeline is a tool, it is not a master. You will never get to any point in your process where you go, gosh, I don't know if we're ready for the next step, but this timeline says we have to do it, so I guess we will. We always want to say the timeline gives some structure, it gives some discipline, it gives some order to the search. But if at any time the board isn't ready for the next step, or we need to step back and take more time at any stage, the timeline will always yield to the needs and interests of the board. But it is important. It'll be important to potential candidates who may be following. It certainly will be important to your community as they try to follow the process. And the most important thing is for the board, if we can spend a little time on this, it will help you all get some dates on your calendars that you can hold, because sometimes the hardest part of the process is finding common dates that work for extended periods of time, such as when we get into interviews that work for all of the board members. So Mr. President, if you're okay, we would, I think we've distributed to everyone a suggested timeline. And we want to say up front, that's what this is. But what it gives you is what a sense of an orderly, good search would look like that complies with law, has appropriate time built in for recruitment of candidates, has appropriate time built in for the board to go through interviews, has time built in to do background checks, and those are going to include financial checks, criminal records checks, social media checks, reference checks, things of that nature. And then there are some times that are required by law, such as the 21-day period, and there's time for community engagement. So if we need to adjust any of those times, we certainly want to entertain that conversation, but Mr. President, we would start with that, and if we can maybe get some conversation and get the board's input around the timeline, that's probably a good place to start.
Okay, very good. And I was going to ask you a little housekeeping. Is it okay
Sure.
for our board to interject questions as we go, or would you like them to save to the
We
end?
welcome that. We're not here to filibuster. So if
Oh,
y'all
okay,
have,
very good.
if y'all have questions, thoughts, anything you need to ask us, please interrupt. It's not an interruption. Please exercise your prerogative as the board to take the mic at any point.
Absolutely, and I thank you for that. I'll go ahead and get the conversation started. Let's talk about the suggested timeline as you presented it. Is this fairly standard? Is it compressed, or is it spread out? How would you compare that to past
This
searches?
is a very standard timeline, and if we could make an observation, you want a timeline. You do not want to rush in this process. And again, you know, a week one way or the other isn't going to be very important compared to the ultimate decision and making sure you give yourself time. What we've also tried to do is look at, there are two times, you want to put yourself in a position where you are searching at a time when candidates are looking, if that makes sense. You do not want to be fishing in a lake that's already fished out or that isn't the right season, the right time. There are two times on the calendar when a majority of superintendencies are open and filled. One are fall searches with new superintendents taking the position around the first of the year. That gives the new person the entire spring. They have the opportunity to work with the staff, to have a little input on budget and other decisions, to kind of have a little input. And we'll see a lot of searches during the fall with January starts. The other common time is to see spring to mid-late spring searches. Typically, people will want to finish the school year where they are, make a move in June, and begin July 1. So those are kind of your two most common times when not only the board's interests in conducting a search are taken into consideration, but it also aligns when you're putting yourself in a position to see the best group of candidates, if that makes sense. So I would describe this timeline as very standard. It is not spread out. It isn't compacted. I would say this is a pretty good search that takes frankly takes advantage of Dr. O'Brien's presence through the fall and puts you in a position to have a new superintendent by January 1. And I do want to add, it has some time for your candidate to maybe work on a part-time basis, maybe a day or two a week with Dr. O'Brien in maybe November and December, so that there is a smooth handoff and transition. And just a little bit of overlap there could also be built into this. Mike?
I think he's hit it. It's pretty standard. It's about 120 days. If you think about the fact that if you allow from the time you enter into a contract with someone, you allow them 30 days to transition, get housing, temporary housing or whatever, and then you have the 21-day waiting period before you can actually sign a contract. That's 51 days on the calendar. So then, as David said, if you say, well, we're going to have to, we at least want a week to do the appropriate vetting and background checks. We also want a week for first round of interviews, a week for second round of interviews, which we recommend that, and we help set all that up on your schedule. Then you back up, and I guess, Mr. President, what I'm saying is, if you look at this calendar, and you say, okay, we begin with the end in mind. Where do we want to wind? Where do we need to wind up to accommodate the board schedule and Dr. O'Brien's leaving the district, so the transition is smooth? Then if you just kind of back up the calendar to what needs to be accomplished in that time period, that's where we wind up. But this is typical. About 120 days is pretty typical.
And if I could add one more thought, what we try to do is create calendars where things that can work kind of simultaneously are able to work. You know, we can do multiple activities simultaneously. If you look at the calendar, it's September 8th today. This gives about 1 month till October 10th to recruit candidates and get applications in. So it gives us roughly, you know, we're now on this side of Labor Day. It gives us a month to really make sure you have a strong, good pool. We've already sent letters out. We've already sent postings out. That occurred again in August, I think on the 19th. But during this month, while we are actively recruiting candidates, is also when we'll be doing community engagement, getting feedback from your community, compiling all of the comments and input from your community, giving the board opportunities to look at that so that you have that information before you start the interview process. So those things will be moving simultaneously during the next month.
I just wanted to confirm that the action item later in the agenda is to approve the proposed calendar, and that if I heard you right, you said the board still has the authority to edit that calendar at a future date if needed for any reason, forward or backwards.
It is, the phrase is, it's a tool, it isn't a master. So if we ever run into something comes up on your schedules, anything of that nature where we need to tweak the calendar, we should do so.
I'll say this, David.
Yeah.
This, as David said, it's a tool, but there is some advantage to having this for the discipline of calendars.
Mm-hmm.
You're busy people. You have things to do. You have ball games to go to. You have things to attend. You have things that, in my case, my calendar gets filled up by things that my wife puts on it. But you have things that, and you have obligations. So there is some discipline in at least having an idea. That doesn't mean it can't be changed. It can certainly be changed. And if the president says, or if you all say, we've got a conflict here that's irresolvable, we got to move something, we move it. So,
Mr. President, a couple of key dates that would really call to the board's attention, if you're good with them, or if we need to flex them a little bit one way or the other. Again, this gives us about 1 month from now to actively recruit, and by the way, that's going to include the convention that's coming up. That'll be an opportunity to visit with potential candidates, see some people in person. And we'll also do the community engagement input, and also staff engagement during this month, and any engagement with the board if y'all have some priorities you want to make sure we have. One of the key dates is October the 15th. We will have a meeting with the board, and it would be helpful if it works with all board members, where we will come and we will discuss with you every person. We will make known to you, and we will work through person who applies. These positions are not friends and family. You're not just going to see the people that Mike and I already know or like. You're going to see every person who applies. That meeting will probably be, members, about 3 hours. We're going to come and we're going to have to spend some extended time working through, looking at candidates, identifying the individuals you want to bring in for initial interviews. So that's an important date to make sure it works for all members of the board.
And as you stated earlier, it's people.
It's people. That will all be in closed session. That meeting will be a closed session
Mr.
meeting.
Thompson, could you back up on the timeline to the September 30th date? It's, that's the community
Yes,
input
yeah.
date?
What we typically
He has
do.
a question, I think.
Well, the question is, the board will only be involved in that 5 to 6 session, or would you want us there the whole day?
No, what we will ask you to do, and we'll get to this in just a moment, we ask you to appoint or nominate the people to meet with us, but that is not, it doesn't take the board's time during the day.
Let me be blunt.
Yeah.
My wife has me booked all day until about 4 o'clock.
Yeah. What we
you
will
only have
give
to
you that
attend the-
evening, if it's the board's pleasure, is just a quick report on what we heard during the day, and then you'll get everything in writing, but it is not a meeting with the board. The first serious meeting with the board is that October 15th date, and we're going to spend hours looking at candidates and identifying who you want for initial interviews. So, Mr. President, that's one date that we would flag to make sure it works for the full board. Then the week of October 20th to 25th is going to be a key week to identify maybe 3 days. Let's say first round interviews are typically 5, 6, or 7 individuals. That's pretty common. Mike and I recommend, now it'll be the board's prerogative, but we have a good process that are about 2-hour interviews with each candidate that are very structured, that give every board member an opportunity to engage, and is a pretty thorough discussion, which Mike will speak to. If you do 2-hour really intensive interviews each day, you're going to need about 3 days. You're going to need like a 5 to 7 or a 5:30 to 7:30 and then an 8 to 10 window or something like that each day for about 3 days that week.
Can I say,
yeah.
Mr. President, also, you don't have to do this, but we usually recommend like a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday. If you say, we'll do one on Monday, we'll skip Tuesday, we'll do a couple on Wednesday, do one on Thursday, skip Friday. By the time you get to the end, it's kind of like, who said what to us when? I think you find, you're looking at comparative information. So if you can do those in, as David said, in perhaps 2-hour interviews each day for 3 days, and you get 6, and that'll be the most intense time, because the second round, you usually just bring a couple of people back. But the first round, and that kind of becomes the challenge for you, Mr. President, to get dates for everybody that everybody can hang on to during football season and soccer season and everything else that's going on. But I think we'd recommend, if you can do those on consecutive days, you'll be a lot happier than if you try to spread those out to the point that you're wondering, well, what did I hear? What did the first one say versus what did we hear last? So something for you to think about if you can do that.
I just want to make sure we're talking about 5 to 7 p.m. and not a.m., correct?
Yes, yeah.
Yes.
Yes, very much so. And then you'll note the following week is second round interviews. It's common to bring back 2 individuals for second round. Mike can speak to that. You're going to want them on different evenings. This is typically a meeting when your candidate will bring their spouse. You may have a light meal, nothing fancy, but just an opportunity to visit socially, learn a little more about them. And then you'll have another 2 or 3 hour interview with each one of them. So you'll need 2 evenings, probably 5:30 to 8:30 or 9. And as Mike said, a Tuesday, Wednesday, or a Tuesday, Thursday, or a Wednesday, Thursday, something like that. And that's that week of October 27th. So those are, the board's going to spend a lot of time, and we want your community to know your hourly rate on this is 0 times a whole lot of hours is still 0.
For the sake of the candidate, can I
Yeah.
propose it's not on October 31st?
Yeah. Yeah, probably. Yeah, that's just that week, but yeah, if we can avoid that.
Most of the boards we work with do this on the first round, like they'll do like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday,
Yeah.
or Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The second round, they'll hit a Tuesday night and a Wednesday night or something like that.
Something like that,
But,
yeah.
but that's up to your schedule and your calendar. We'll respect, and we'll have the candidates here when you say the dates and times are that you can meet.
I have a quick question. Before we get ahead of ourselves, and I know we're doing the scheduling thing, but you had spoke earlier about how you're looking at recruiting candidates, and you said you have already done, proceeded with an online. Could you kind of tell me a little bit beyond the online job posting, what is the strategy that we're doing to, as we vetting candidates right
Okay.
now?
Vetting or recruiting?
Recruiting, sorry.
Recruiting.
On the 19th, we had probably about 40 or 50 letters go out to school leaders, school executives, most of them superintendents, but some deputy superintendents, and that would probably be in districts larger than Goose Creek. But those are letters of what we call letters of invitation.
Okay.
This is the vacancy, this is where it's located, this is how many students, this is the kind of, and we kind of give the Chamber of Commerce letter. It's basically advertising the district to them and why we'd love for them to consider it. It's invitation. Sometimes David and I follow those up with phone calls, but more often than not, we start getting phone calls from those letters. We also do what we call nomination letters, and I'd say we're probably in the neighborhood of 50 or 60. Those go out sometimes to school board members, sometimes to legislators, sometimes to foundations, but people who are opinion leaders in public education.
Superintendents, service
sometimes
center
superintendents,
directors,
but
yep.
who basically know our marketplace, know who experienced leaders are and who people are that would. And Dave and I like to think we have a nice, robust network, but we're always looking for rising stars. We're always looking for people that, may emerge. And so we sometimes learn some people we need to get to know better, or we need to call, we need to talk to about that. We always say to the boards, we hope you'll interview people from about 3 categories. One would be experienced superintendents who really have a lot of experience, some who maybe are in the power stroke of their career, and then a couple that may be rising stars. So you get a real good flavor of who are the people out there that could really help our children and help our district. But in terms of recruiting, and that's the recruiting letters, the nomination letters, invitation letters. Also, as you know, this position is being advertised on TexasISD.com. It's also being advertised on the Texas Association School Administrators Career Center and the new site, David, I forgot the name of it.
I'll have to go back and
there's a
look,
third site that is now advertising superintendent vacancies. And I'll get that for Randy, but it's a very good site. They have nothing but superintendent vacancies on that site, and it's on there as well. So actually, we have 3 sites. The TASA Career Center and the TexasISD.com Center get a lot of hits. They get the most hits every day for people who are interested in professional growth. But those went up, I believe, August 19th or 20th, something like that. So the letters went out that week too. So we've had at least we've had it in the marketplace since that time.
And as Mike said, we've already reached out to right at 100 people, either to consider applying or to nominate, tell us who they think are the strong candidates in their areas. Well, all total, probably
Close to 100.
Yeah, probably close to 100 between people who got letters saying, we want you to consider applying, and people who got letters saying, we want you to nominate some people.
Tell us if there's somebody out there we ought to know about that you think. And we describe the district. Again, it's a Chamber of Commerce letter describing the district. And
Yep.
Ms. Brought-Thames, would you turn your microphone on, please?
You have all that like from like an assessment of our district financials,
Sure.
all, okay.
Well, we probably need to say a word about that. That's not all in that letter, but you have a great staff that David and I got to meet with today, thanks to Randy. And I think you're going to see a website go out. Kendall and Nancy were great today, and I think you're going to see a website go up that
A link on your
a
homepage.
link that has your budget, your
Oh, okay.
CAFR, your audit.
Good.
And if you approve.
Performance data,
if
yeah.
you-
Academic and.
If you approve this calendar, the calendar will be on there. Your public will be interested in that, but the candidates will be very interested in it. They'll go and that'll give them a quick guide to look the district and look and see, get information about your financials, also about your performance. So, yeah, that's, I think we had a good meeting today with Randy and the team, the communications team, and I think I was impressed by their sense of urgency. I'll just say that. They were very quick.
Are we limited to Texas, or is this one of these national, like we've done before?
Correct. People, all of the advertisement that we have done to date is in Texas, but of course, candidates outside of Texas who are looking to come to Texas regularly search these sites.
Okay.
And so we have not put any kind of limitation on it, and we fully expect to get some candidates from outside of Texas.
Okay.
Had one today from New Jersey that contacted me while I was driving down here.
Yep.
Had a nice visit with the superintendent of New Jersey outside of Atlantic City. David is correct. People in other states follow TexasISD.com and they follow the TASA Career Center. We could buy advertising on that. I'll be honest with you, Mr. Sampson. I don't know that it's worth the cost to go national. The people who want to get to Texas, they know the professional sites to follow.
Yeah.
And we have done searches and done one here with the district here in Houston 5 or 6 years ago that did hire an out-of-state superintendent. So they will show up. We always say this, whoever, and I told the gentleman this today, we'd love to have your candidacy, and it's a great district. The Texas School Accountability System and the Texas School Finance System are very unique. And a successful candidate is going to need to know and understand those and be able to discuss those with the board. So with that caution, we encourage anybody, anywhere.
I know we've had some individuals that had applied before, but they were in Texas first and they moved to another state and they was trying to get back.
We try to keep track of people who have left the state, seen the error of their ways, and want to come back. So
that has happened with us.
We've recruited those people
several times. We've had superintendents leave and they're back in Texas.
and then come back.
One went to Oregon, and I forgot one went to Georgia, but they're back in
both
Texas
came
now.
back. Yep. Mr. President, on the calendar, those interview weeks are going to be very intensive for the board. A lot of hours spent, a lot of hard consideration and real in-depth examination of individuals. You'll note the next week, we have a week in there for background searches, background checks. That includes, again, a financial check. It'll include a social media check. It will include a required criminal background check, which the district is required to perform. There is time to do a site visit if the board wants to do that. We will candidly tell you those are becoming a lot less common. It used to be that the only way you could find out about a person would be to physically go to their community. We can find out a lot now without doing that, but there is time if the board chooses to do that. And then one thing you'll see in that week that we have always done that I think is unique to our approach, unlike other people that do searches. You cannot legally hire the person until you've done the 21-day waiting period. But we spend some time on the front end making sure there's going to be a meeting of the minds. I'll put it that way. We think it's appropriate to make sure that we have just general understanding and agreement on the term, the kind of the boundaries of a deal, even though it's not legally enforceable. Some people wait until you've named somebody publicly as the finalist to then start discussing contract terms. That kind of creates some unusual dynamics. And so we like to make sure that we're going to be able to move forward and that both parties are going to be comfortable moving forward, and we do that during that week. You'll see that we have a date here back to what should be the board's calendars on November 10th to name your finalist. And if that date needs to move a little bit, that's probably an important date all board members will want to be present for. We are required by law to name the person, wait at least 21 days before you can then legally employ them.
Yeah, that would likely be the evening too that the candidate and spouse would be here.
They would be here.
To be,
yep.
You were going to identify them, and then they would be available to be in the district for visits. During the 21-day period, you can come to the district for visits, meet staff, get acquainted meetings and that kind of thing,
yep.
and spend some time with the outgoing superintendent and with other people. And then when the 21-day period is over and they are officially employed and sign a contract, they can also return during that time. We leave a little 30-day period in there again for relocation because relocation is a pretty big deal. And
well, if your new candidate is from outside the district, and I want to stop here and say we don't want to presume. You may have outstanding internal candidates, and we have a process to work through that so that they're considered well along with your external candidates. But an external candidate is not going to submit a resignation in their current job until the end of the 21-day period when they actually get employed here. So that again is just pretty obvious when we say it, but so that kind of goes. But as Mike said, during the 21-day period, it would be typical for them to be in the community. And then if they're hired on December 1st, from there, between there and January 1, it would be very common for them to be in the district 1 or 2 days a week on a day-by-day consulting basis, again, to work with Dr. O'Brien, get familiarized with the staff, and try to be in a position to hit the ground running when their contract begins in January. And again, make for a smooth handoff. So, Mr. President, that's kind of the calendar. We've tried to flag the days and the periods in there that are going to be particularly important for the board to look at your own calendars and be thinking about setting aside some real blocks of time. That's frequently the hardest thing to do is to get those times identified and for all of you, because we know you're very busy people.
I would agree with that. I came to this meeting tonight to nail down a date for board training, one date, and I knew that would be difficult. You've hit us with quite a few that we have to do in addition to that, so I think that'll be the hardest. Before I go into the dates, let me just ask, or just for clarify, first round of interviews, those are in person?
Those are in person. Typically all interviews are going to be in person.
All right, thank you. I didn't want to assume, but I was pretty sure that was the answer. At this time, I would like to poll the board for the October 15th because that's the first date on my calendar. I show that's a Wednesday, and Mr. Thompson is asking for about 3 hours of closed session to review the candidates.
And it'd be helpful if it's a date that you don't have anything else on a board meeting, because
correct, it'll be for this only.
Yep.
Is anyone going to be out of town and completely unavailable on October 15th?
So this says 11:30 a.m. I will be coming in from out of town that day. I could do that afternoon, like 4-ish, but I can't do 11:30.
We're fine.
Okay.
That was just we were just putting that on the date.
Okay.
I wanted to start with the date, and then we'll narrow down the time.
We
so I can do the date just later.
I mean, a lot of boards don't even start those maybe till 5:30. We go to 8:30 or 9. I mean, we'll work with y'all on it.
Depending on what else you have, but I hope you don't have any. You shouldn't have any. Really, that's a day to not schedule anything else, really. But as early as you want to start, or late, we'll start at 7. We'll start at 6. We'll start at 5. We'll start at 4. Okay. Whenever you say the board's ready, then you post it, and we'll be here. Okay. I won't be driving back to Dallas that evening. I promise.
There's plenty of great places to stay in Baytown. Yeah. Ms. Brott-Timms is good. Mr. Sampson? Mr. Clem? Good. I'm good. Mr. Martinez?
Yes, I'm good.
Yeah.
And Mrs. Guy.
Noemi was just pointing out to me that is fall break for the district. I mean, I'm okay to come up. I don't have fall break, but
Well, for this part,
but I don't know if it
Dr.
matters.
O'Brien does not need to be here for this part. With that
What?
being said, fall break, is that going to?
Oh.
I don't know if I recommend that or not. Okay. Okay.
I'd like to note that one of our trustees is absent at this time, so I would like to go ahead and keep the October 15th as a tentative date. If board members will go ahead and reserve that in your calendar, and what I'm hearing is an evening time would be better. I join Ms. Guy in saying evening is better for my schedule.
Yeah, is 7 a possibility?
Would 7 o'clock be a possibility? It'd be 7 to 10.
I would have to call out, but that's fine.
At least.
Yeah, we would kindly say don't start too late because then you're going to be awfully tired by the time we get.
Mr. Moses said he was spending the night anyway.
I will. I won't be driving back.
I frequently stay with Mike and he stays with me. So
We could wreck a pillow and a blanket.
But
No, I'm going to be coming in from out of town that day. I'll have to work anyway. I wouldn't be able to take off.
I would be, say, set a time when you can all be there. This is pretty big, this is big stuff.
important.
If it's 6, 7, whatever you need to
We'll
do,
be
I'd
here.
do it.
We'll be here.
You know,
That's fine, I'll just.
Could we aim for maybe 6 o'clock? And Okay, let's tentatively put it 6 o'clock on October 15th. Of course, Mr. Renteria is not here right now, and he is an integral part of this board, and
Sure.
we need to afford him the same ability to be at this
Absolutely.
very important meeting. With that being said, let's move forward to the next set of dates. October 20th through 25th is tentatively for the first round of interviews. Will anyone be unavailable out of town during those days for sure? I'm just looking to see if you're going to be on a cruise between the 20th and the 25th.
And what we usually suggest on those interviews is the first round interview are going to be pretty structured because you're interviewing multiple people. You want to make sure you get comparable information. These interviews are going to be pretty structured 2-hour interviews. So think about, like, as an example, a 5 to 7 and then a 7:30 to 9:30, or a 5:30 to 7:30 and then an 8 to 10, something. If you're trying to accommodate after people get off work, you want to give yourself a little break in there to get a bite, go to the restroom, refresh, so you'll be ready for the next candidate. So.
Agreed. And I'm not looking to set these dates, but just more or less see if we have any glaring conflicts at this point. Everyone's in town and mostly available during that week.
just an addendum to that one comment too. We will, on October 15th, when we have concluded identifying the pool that you'd like to interview, we won't be finished. We will also have time to prepare for the interview, and we have a battery of questions that we will, you don't have to use them, but I think you'll find them very helpful in the process. It's a pretty good examination of a lot of areas. What's that? Yeah, let us work on that, but I think we can help.
And you'll also have the feedback from our community.
Right.
And you'll also have all
looking
the
for the
community
characteristics
input.
of the next superintendent.
Yep.
Okay.
We'll make sure you're prepared.
It looks like our timeline is doable.
The second round week, I know we made a comment about not doing it on Halloween, but do y'all know that if there are any parents out there, wedding venues are really cheap on Halloween? Because I'm going to be in a wedding on Halloween. So I can.
4 days, we're doing like a week.
Yeah.
You just got you need 2 nights. You need 2 days. You need 2 days that week.
Yeah, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, pick 2 nights.
Your candidates would be very unlikely to come on a Friday, be able to come on a Friday for, not only for the experience, but there's something called Friday night football that they probably have to be at.
Well, Monday and Tuesday are good nights because most people, and like students or anyone else and families, if they have, it's a church night, so. a Monday and Tuesday, we can look at those, or Wednesdays or Thursdays. I'm good on that.
Okay, Mr. Moses, Mr. Thompson, it looks like the timeline that you're proposing is amenable to the board.
Very good.
Tentative, of course, the October dates are
Okay.
contingent
Very good.
upon the first date.
All right, well then let's, if we can move on, the next big piece we'd like to discuss with you is community engagement. We want to make sure there's plenty of opportunity for people in the district to share their thoughts, and then for us to organize those and present those to you in a way that'll be useful to the board. And we have some ways that we do community engagement that districts have found very useful for many years, and I'll turn it over to Dr. Moses to kind of walk through that process.
I think you all maybe have already seen this list of what we call focus group categories. We call them focus groups because they're guided conversations. David and I ask a series of questions, and everybody that comes gets to talk, usually 4 or 5 times. We don't ask them to come and listen to us talk. We ask them questions, and we record everything they say.
Without attribution.
We write down everything they say without attribution, and then you get to see that. You get to hear the verbal report that afternoon, and then later, a week or so later, you get a written report. But we found that to be better than what some people call open mic nights, where everybody just gets up. The conversations with your community have been largely applauded, and that they've appreciated the opportunity. In order to accomplish that, we provided you a list of categories that we found work well. If your stakeholders, each one of you appoint one person from each of those categories, we have 63 people with whom to meet. And usually he's in groups of about 15 or 20 people. David and I, there's a schedule on September 30th. You're not, as we said, not required to be there. In fact, we don't encourage you to come. But we come in the day before, and then that day we meet in hour-and-a-half segments with members of the community. We've already had the opportunity to visit with, again, the communications team today to set it, and they have boilerplate letters to be sent out, signed by the Board of Trustees, the President of the Board, inviting them to participate in this. We ask that we don't have every group is not made up of one group of, say, of teachers or parents. We want to mix them up and get a good, rich conversation with everyone in the community. We meet with about an hour and a half with each group. We also, during the day, offer ourselves to meet with anybody that the communications team thinks we need to talk to from the media. If they don't think that's necessary, that's fine. We also want to meet with the senior staff and the direct reports to the superintendent, usually for about an hour or so. And then we're available that afternoon to give the board, late afternoon, to give the board a summary of what we've heard, to the extent that that's of interest to the members of the board. Also invite your comments about attributes, priorities and attributes that you have. But we get there if you submit the names of the individuals in these categories to Kendall or Nancy, and with addresses. Usually email addresses helps, and sometimes a cell phone helps.
Those
Mr.
are
President,
directly.
you look like you're ready to.
Well, they're going to go directly to Ms. Garcia, and then Ms. Garcia will work with the communications team.
No, in the interest of transparency, Dr. Moses, my apologies for addressing you as Mr. Moses before. Can we announce these categories that you're proposing for our general public?
Absolutely.
To do so. Yep.
Absolutely.
Nothing secretive.
It's a parent, a non-parent taxpayer. Those represent, in case you don't know, in Harris County and Dallas County and Travis County across the state of Texas, of the 30 million people that live in Texas, 70% do not
Of
have
adults. Yeah.
of the adults do not have school-aged children. So we always say it's important to have parent input, but the non-parent taxpayer is important. The business person or Chamber of Commerce representative, a representative of a faith-based institution, a teacher, an administrator or principal, whichever you would choose, a student. We have found the students to be very insightful. And the adults always find what the students have to say very interesting. And these are usually very good students that come and offer some good insights. Auxiliary staff members are important. The people who work outside the classroom, they are important to be included. And then if you like to include an elected official or other opinion leader That kind of rounds out the 9 categories. And I would say this to you, Mr. President, the members, if you think there's somebody else out there that we really need to make sure gets included, after you've completed the list and you make sure that it's balanced and it's balanced across your community and those stakeholders in your community, if you say, well, we've left off somebody that really needs to be, that was a bond steering committee person or something.
Or a former board member.
Yeah, we'd say if you need to add somebody, and it's nice if the groups are pretty close to the same. We talked to the staff about that today, but if somebody says, I can't come at 8:30, but I could come at 10:30, okay, let them come. We're not trying to exclude people. We're trying to include people. So to the extent that we can maintain a little bit of balance in the size of the groups, we'd like to do that. But mostly we want to get the people you nominate included to the greatest degree possible.
Mr. President, after all of the board members submit the names, and we know y'all have had a lot of activity in committees in the district, so this is probably something y'all are well set up to do and to do quickly. If you have any overlap of names, you probably want the board president or your staff to review to make sure that all areas of the district are appropriately represented, that we get elementary, secondary, that we have a good representation of the whole community. If somebody can't come, then obviously people could nominate another person. If you have duplicates, give somebody an opportunity to put in another candidate. So there's probably a day or two just to review the list after everybody gets their lists in, just to make sure you've got the group you need. But I think y'all probably have done a lot of this lately, and you've probably got a good process to start quickly on.
We would just encourage you to try to get this done in the next 3 to 4 days, 4 or 5 days. Yep. So I think the sooner you get the letters of invitation out, the higher percentage of participation you will have. People have this, and most people say, "Oh, I want to go to that. I'd like to hear what's being discussed on that subject." But I think the sooner you can get your names with their contact information to the staff, and they can get the letters out, you will have a higher level of participation.
And then talk about the surveys.
Well, before we go to the surveys, let's talk a date. You said 3 or 4 days. We are currently at September 8th. Give us a hard date that you're looking for all these. Friday the 12th?
Friday.
I'd have those no later than, and then that way they could get those out early next week, which would give everybody at least 2 weeks' notice.
And then a week to do a follow-up.
And if they have time to call some people they haven't heard from, if you give them a cell number and you give them whatever contact information you can, we want to be respectful of the staff, but I think the idea is to get the highest level of participation that you can.
And what do you tell a trustee that may or may not know an elected official or opinion leader or business person or something that they can't fill every 9 slots? Are they welcome to fill it with someone else that they feel is...
Then nominate someone they're comfortable nominating.
Okay, thank you for that.
The real goal is you want to have a good representative cross-section of the community and people who are opinion leaders, who maybe who are good reflections of what your community thinks.
All right, one final question on the focus group categories. We talk about students. What would be the appropriate grade level? Obviously, we wouldn't put a kindergarten student in there, although I've sat on committees with students and they talk freely and openly and give you the God's honest truth about everything. But what would be the appropriate grade level for this?
I would honestly say think about juniors and seniors.
Yeah, but we've had some younger than that, but it's juniors and seniors are going to give you good input, and they're. But if somebody has a sophomore that they think, we really need to get in, we're not going to say, well, you shouldn't be in here to anybody. But I think David's correct. I think it's good to shoot for your 11th and 12th grade students if you can.
Thank you.
You want to talk about the survey? You want me to?
Well, let's just see. Mr. Chairman, are we ready to talk about kind of what comes after that?
We're ready to keep on going.
All right, real
I've
quickly,
asked
I
a ton
think
of
we're about-
questions, but this
we're-
is really an important process
Yes, sir,
for
we understand.
our
and,
community.
hope we're helping the board. The next, after the focus groups, so there may be people that say to you, or say to a focus group member, or say to someone, boy, I wish I could have gone and participated in that. I wish I could have offered some thoughts. We recommend take the questions that we posed in this conversation. It's a guided conversation, and put those on the district's website in a form the district usually uses for a survey format, and put them up for a week. And let anybody that wants to, and advertise it in the district newsletters, or however the district advertises on the website, that if you'd like to participate in the parent survey, it's on, go to this link, and or not just parent, but citizen survey would be the more appropriate term, and participate. And I wouldn't leave it up. We usually don't recommend, districts don't leave it up more than about a week, because first of all, we're going to start running toward that latter part of the search. And secondly, we want to get the data so the board can look at it. And after a week or so, it kind of runs out of steam. It's kind of, if people want to participate, they've had the opportunity to do that. But then I think that gives everyone a chance to say that if you had thoughts to offer, there was an opportunity to do so.
And our experience is you get a lot more participation doing it this way than with the traditional open mic night. You know, because if you do the open mic night, you're limited to people whose schedules allow them to come at that point and at that place and time. The survey allows some people to do it at 5:30 in the morning and others to do it at 10:30 at night, and so we find you get a lot more community engagement when we do it that way. That's been our experience. So, Mr. President, just to sum up, and board, advertisements are up. We're talking to candidates. We're already receiving some applicants. We have a month left to actively recruit, and we expect to have a very good group of candidates for the board's consideration. I think we appreciate very much the board's work on the timeline tonight. I think that will be very helpful. Your staff has been very helpful today in terms of getting a link up on your homepage. There's going to be good information about the search, both for candidates and for your community, that will be helpful. We've talked about community engagement. And so if there are other things that y'all want to talk about in terms of process, we would be happy to respond to those. But I think we've covered a lot of ground tonight. We appreciate your comments. And we will stay, we know you have a closed session later, and so if there's an opportunity to talk about, again, process in public, people in private, we can have that conversation in closed session a little bit later on in your meeting at the board's pleasure.
Mr. President, thank you for rearranging the board agenda this evening. I appreciate that very much, and I will be staying overnight in the future for our future meetings.
Thank you. Before we turn you loose, start with Ms. Broad-Timms. Any questions, comments for the panel? Microphone again, please. I'm sorry.
As we do the rounds and move it, I'm confused, like the first round of interviews and the second round of interviews, would that be different candidates, or you mean the second round of the first round people?
Usually, once the first round is probably going to be 5, 6, or 7 people. Let's just say 6. After you've done that, we'll give you a process that we will say right after you've finished your last interview, to then the board will meet, immediately thereafter, and say, okay, who are a couple people that we really want to bring back for the second round?
But what if no one meets our standards in the first round, and where do we go?
Then you'll need to, David and I'll need to come back, and we'll have another. We're not through until you're through. Okay. And I think you all know this from our proposal. We don't send you a bill until this is done. Right. We don't nickel and dime you during the search. We are with you until the job is done. If you were totally dissatisfied with the pool, we'd come back and talk about what we need to do and where we need to go to get people that meet the standard.
Great question. Thank you. Any further questions, Ms. Broad-Timms? Mr. Sampson? Mr. Clem?
No, thank you very much.
Mr. Martinez?
Yes, sir.
Mrs. Guy? Ms. Garcia. Dr. O'Brien, any questions concerning this for you?
Well, I just wanted to ask the consultant firm, do you know what our district theme is in regards to our branding?
Oh, great question.
I picked up your brochure today.
Here, we grow giants.
There you
And
go.
so that helps you with your.
We were looking at it over here.
That's right.
Yeah.
It helps you with selection. Every candidate must be 6'6" or taller.
Sounds good to me.
No, seriously, I just wanted to thank you for lending the district your expertise and your wealth of knowledge that you have for many of the leaders across our great state. And thank you for the clear and thorough presentation tonight.
Thank you, Dr. O'Brien. And I'll close with this. I have no doubt that myself and my 6 colleagues, 7 counting Dr. O'Brien, but it's really the team of 7 that are hiring the next superintendent. I have no doubt that this board is absolutely committed to being fair, being transparent, being thorough, and finding the best possible candidate out there for Goose Creek, because we do grow giants, and this position is going to affect every person in this community for years to come. So with that, thank you so much for your leadership on this process, and we look forward to working with you moving forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Same for you, same for us. Thank you very, very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you, gentlemen. Feel like we need a break after that. Okay, now we will resume the regular order of the agenda, and we will resume with item 6. Dr. O'Brien, I'll turn it over to you for superintendent report.
Yes, sir. Before I announce that, I just wanted to let our consultants know as they exit the room that not only do we have our district office staff here tonight, but we have many of our campus leaders here in the audience with us. So our principals are here as well. They were able to hear it firsthand from you. Thank you. The first presentation we'll have under superintendent's report this evening is the graduation and scholarship update. We have a committee coming up to share much of this information with you.
Do any board members need a 10-minute recess?
Yes.
We're going to take a 5-minute recess while y'all prepare. The time is 7:14. The time is now 7:21, and we will resume our meeting. Dr. O'Brien, the floor is yours.
Good evening, President Campisi.
6A1.
Dr. O'Brien, would you introduce your panel, please, sir? Superintendent's report.
Are we ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Go
Good
right ahead,
evening,
ma'am.
President Campisi, Dr. O'Brien, and board members. We are here to go over graduation update, which means you should start thinking about graduation right now. Getting that time. And my principals would definitely say this. So, so overview of the district, we graduated 1,671 graduates. We had 131 associate's degrees. We had 101 core complete. And this is a whopping 23,174 in attendance. So I'm going to give you a little Cliff Note overview that we want to share with you, the difference between how we get our CCMR accountability and how we get outcome bonus money. In a budget deficit year, I know that it's important to look at all avenues of revenue. So if you look at this slide, it tells you how you get CCMR. That is only count for accountability. But when you look at the outcome bonus for college ready, they have to earn an associate's degree or meet TSIA and enter into college immediately the fall semester of their graduation year. To be career ready, they meet TSIA and they earn a level 1 or level 2 certification, which is most of our students at Stewart Career. And you'll hear a little bit about that in a minute. Or we meet TSIA and we earn industry-based certification. And the other mark that we look at is being military ready. That had been taken off the table for a while, and now with the collection of the DD4 forms, it's back on, but it does not qualify for outcome bonus money, only for college readiness. So I'm going to move and explain that bonus money. So the way TA has raised those thresholds, sorry about that, on the students who are economically disadvantaged, up to 11%, we do not get extra funds for, but anything over 11% of our annual graduates, you get $5,000 bonus money for. Of the students who do not meet the economically disadvantaged label, they give you a threshold of 24%. So the first 24%, we do not receive any extra bonus money. Anything over 24% is $3,000. And then you get a bonus for any student who's actually labeled as special education of a $2,000. So you'll look at the bottom of the district data. There were 75 students over the threshold that are economically disadvantaged, which equals $375,000 that the district earned. And then non-economically disadvantaged, there were 32 students above that threshold at a $96,000. And then the SPED students you see, those are $14,000 with the extra $2,000 bonus. I would like for you to notice that the biggest amount of money came from our economically disadvantaged students, which are typically our first gen and students of color, so we're very excited about that. That equaled a $481,000 outcome bonus return for the district. So we're excited to share that with you. Any question over that? And I'm gonna pass it on. Well, it's in, Bridget has that fund. Yes.
Okay, for our impact class of 2025, we had 95 graduates, and community members in attendance, we had 1,203.
Okay, and our total class scholarship was $2,079,755. Our percentage of students with 9 college hours, we had 95 students total, which was 100%. Our percentage of students, or our number of students graduating with 24 hours, we had 91 total, and that's at 96%. And then our percent of students graduating core complete, we had 4 students, which equaled 4%. And then our percentage of students that graduated with associate's degrees, we had 61 total, and there were some that finished over the summer, so we had 64% of those students that earned associate's degrees. And then our predicted outcome bonus for that campus was $181,000.
For Stewart Career, we had 99 graduates, and in attendance, we had 1,400. If you see the asterisk beside that, we were over capacity at Lee College. So we'll have to have discussions as maybe limiting numbers of family members for graduates and or a different place for graduation. Yes, sir, that was part of the discussion.
Mm-hmm. Okay, our class scholarship total for Stewart was $859,415. 92% of those students earned 9 college hours or more. 90% of those students earned 24 hours or more, and then 83% of those earned a college certificate. 16% were graduating core complete, and then 31% of those students graduated with associate's degrees.
They did receive 144 industry-based certifications, with the top 2 areas being agriculture certs at 76 and automotive certs at 35.
And I missed something very important. I want to make sure everybody knows who my team is. So this is Jennifer Fierro over our counseling, Leslie Garcia, special projects graduation, and Leah Miller for CTE.
Okay, for Sterling High School, we had 468 graduates. Community members in attendance, we had 6,627.
And our class scholarship total for Sterling was $9,012,884. They had 61 students graduating at 13% of their total, with earning 9 college hours or more. They had 14 students total, which was 3% of their students graduating with 24 hours. They did not have any earn a college level certificate. They had 3 students graduating core complete, which was a little less than 1%. And then they had 1 student earning an associate's degree, which was a little less than that 1%.
And the IBCs for that campus totaled at 366, which the top 2 areas, we had Microsoft Office at 279 and NCCER Core at 107.
And then their predicted outcome bonus was $88,000.
For Lee High School, we had 437 graduates, and in attendance, our community members, we had 5,187.
And then Lee's scholarship total was $5,208,054. They had 37% of their students earning 9 or more college hours, 19% of their students earning 24 college hours, and then 5% earning a college certificate. They had 3% students graduating core complete, and then a little less than 1%, which was one student that graduated with an associate's degree.
And 158 industry-based certifications, which the top two for that campus, floral design at 62 and Microsoft Office at 52.
And then their predicted outcome bonus was $47,000.
Okay, last but not least is GCM. We had 536 graduates, and community members in attendance is 8,717.
And then GCM scholarships total was $10,632,120. They had 34% of their students earning 9 college hours or more, 23% of their students graduating with 24 more hours, 2% earned a college certificate. They had 4% of their students graduating core complete, and then 5% of their students that graduated with their associates.
214 industry-based certifications in the top two areas for that campus, 149 Microsoft Office and 29 NCCR Core.
Before we move away from this data, would you help me understand the difference between a college certificate and an industry-based?
Yes. So the college certificates are the workforce dual credit programs like Stewart the Welding. So at their sophomore year, they graduate with 16 hours and walk with Lee College in the fall. So that's like a level 1 college certificate. And then at the end of their senior year, they can get their level 2 college certificate. So the industry-based certification is a test. So with NCCER, which is an outside agency, they test, and those are skill-based tests.
But a college, so a college certificate is another thing to get me into the workforce.
And it's dual credit, yes,
Okay.
sir.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so some celebrations that we have is this year we've moved our photography process for graduation to Gentry, and that worked very well, alleviating the lines on the side of the sidelines and making sure that we got quality pictures for our students. With support from our police department and the parent shuttles, we were able to clear up a lot of the traffic that we've had issues with in the past. And we are also very grateful for the field house that we were able to utilize for hospitality and housing all of our special guests for graduation.
Okay, and then we increased our scholarship total. We actually had a goal of 22 million and exceeded that to 27. And then we had the nearly 500,000 in the CCMR outcome bonus money.
And then just to highlight again, our Digital Communications Academy students and our HVAC students received their college certificate for the first time this graduating cohort. And if you have not made it out to Stallworth, you really should take a tour out there. Our Digital Communications students are doing all the AV for that, for the field events, and it's amazing. They're doing a great job.
Okay, so for some opportunities that we have, we'll continue to look at the graduation stage and continuously downscale. That's very important. Yes. And then one of the things that we're going to be incorporating this next year for GiantCon is dual credit orientation for our staff, so they'll get their work day on that Friday.
Okay, and then we are offering College 101 night. It was going to be just at GCM. Our CCR counselor was organizing that, and all of the counselors decided that we want to have that, and that night is actually November 11th. And so it's going to, we decided on sessions today on just information for parents, general information on FAFSA, general information on college applications, 2-year versus 4-year universities. So we're working on that. We're excited to offer that to our families. And then also we want to make sure that we expand those opportunities to make sure that Stewart and REL students are awarded the same scholarship information. And then also our goal is that 25% of our graduating class earns 24 dual credit hours for each campus. And so that's our focus for this upcoming year, or for this year.
And then we are working with Lee College to develop that level 1 certificate in logistics and process technology, so that'll be ready next school year.
And to preventatively spray for flying insects.
Yes, sir, noted.
Just an idea.
Okay, so mark your calendars this next year for graduation 2026. It'll start on May the 19th. We'll do our early college high schools. May the 20th, we'll graduate Sterling, May 21st, Lee, and then May 22nd, Goose Creek Memorial. So please be ready.
So for Stewart, do we have a plan for this year? If we're still going to do it at Lee College this year?
We're going to have those discussions with our committee to see
Okay.
if we want to limit the number that they can bring to Lee College and or just utilize Stallworth because it will be set up and ready for the rest of graduations.
Okay.
So lastly, I want to share, we did summer testing, retesting this summer, and we, as a district, resubmitted 25 of those tests that met kind of a criteria for us for English 1 and English 2 only. And of those tests, 10 of those came back improved. So we sent 15 tests back for ELA 1, 7 improved, and 6 moved from did not meets to approaches. So they are now graduating. English 2, we had 10 tests, 3 improved, 2 moved from did not meets to approaches. So that means that 7 students now meet EOC graduation requirements and 6 students had zeros for their AI score through TA and they came up to passing. So just some information to share from this summer. That's it. Any questions for the group?
Excuse me. I got a question. Another district that's north of us have, not this way, that's east, north of us have kids taking dual credits that are coming out as sophomores and going to college and becoming sophomores and then graduating at 19. Do we keep a record of any kids that we have that are coming out of, our district that have taken enough dual credits that when they go to another college, I'm not talking about going to Lee College, but I'm saying going to a 4-year university and becoming a sophomore, do we have any kind of data on that, or do we even?
Yes. So if you look at the GCM screen, that's just the last one. That's what we're doing is tracking these students. So when a student comes in with 24 hours, they're going in close to a sophomore. So it's usually 12 hours a semester. So that means that that student, this district has provided that student with 24 college hours. They've missed their entire first year of college. Most of these students are going straight into 4-year universities, and many of those we've hired back before they're even 21 years old to teach in the district.
Oh, right.
So if you look at impact, that school was built just so we could graduate those students with associate's degrees and continue either to finish their associate's degree or to get 4-year. So if you'll notice, you have 96% of those students graduating with 24 hours and 64% of those students graduated with an associate's degree. So we are tracking all of those students.
Mm. Yeah.
Mr. Sampson, I'm really excited to say we're probably above the national average in what we do with dual credit here, and it's a testimony to what you do on the board as supporting that. But we do a lot of really, really good things with our kids.
Now this is at Impact, right?
Well, this is every one of the campuses.
This is just impact.
Okay.
61 out of the 90.
For. But that's at Impact.
Yeah, but all the other schools have it.
But that's what I'm asking. Okay, now go to the next one. Yeah.
That's not the focus of those schools.
Yeah. Right. But I'm not asking about the focus. I'm asking about how many.
It's there, every campus.
So, Mr. Sampson, if you look at Lee High School, there's 83 students out of 437. There was 83 students that graduated with a full year of college before they graduated high school.
Yeah, that's what my interest was. I was just curious. I saw
Yes.
the impact and I saw the other ones, but I was interested in how many came out of the regular school that weren't at impact or the other, but
Yes.
traditional high school.
Right. And so I'm really excited. I'm proud of Lee. They have really worked the last few years to increase their number of students taking dual credit. We have some dual credit HVAC programs over there as well. And so we are seeing a big increase at Lee High School with their numbers as well.
Okay. I see you now, Mr. Clem. Okay, good. Okay, sorry. That's what I was asking.
All
Okay.
right. I hope that helped. Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much, and don't go very far, Ms. Jackson. We have next up is our GCCSD 24-25 Accountability Ratings and Distinctions.
How many we graduated?
Have a few other administrators joining her.
I know you can't hear me.
Y'all look familiar, but go ahead and introduce yourself.
But I was just interested.
James Husband, District Testing Coordinator.
Karen Thomas, Area Executive Director.
I think they're doing great.
Sandy Conklin, Area Executive Director. Kevin Foxworth, Area Executive Director.
Okay, so we are going to now review the 24-25 accountability ratings and distinctions for y'all tonight.
Okay, so we wanted to start off by just giving you a brief overview of what we presented to you in July. In July, we presented the subjects compared to the state that was released in June, and we presented that to you guys in July. In August, the middle of August, TA released accountability ratings for 23-24 and 24-25, and that's kind of what we're going to talk about tonight. But we wanted you guys to know that the state does not compare districts like it does campuses. Campuses have a 40-40 comparison group. As far as when we compare districts to districts, we have to do that legwork and kind of just see who we are going to compare to and look up those scores and kind of present them to you. So that's what we're going to do tonight.
Okay, so these are the surrounding ratings from the districts around us. So we have up on the screen the schools that rated an A. Then we have the schools that rated a B, which is where I want us to be. I really want us to be an A, but definitely that. And so we'll go through, and then Goose Creek is on the list that we have that is a C. And just because I didn't include the names of the districts that were below a C. So overall, how did we do? They just released 23-24 and 24-25. So our score for 23-24 was a 78. We maintained the 78. We saw an increase by two points for the high school from an 84 to an 86. We saw a 3-point decrease in our junior high, which is, we know that's going to have to be a focus. And you remember from last year, we put a hard focus on elementary because that's where we saw a real dip at 69%, and we did see a 4-point increase to 73, but the work is not near done. We want to see that overall district rating as an A.
And so our campuses do receive distinctions, and so we wanted to kind of highlight some of those. So out of the 28 eligible campuses, 11 of those, which is about 39% of our campuses, received at least one distinction. To break that down even more, elementary, that 5 out of the 16 elementary schools earned at least one distinction. Junior high, 1 out of the 6 earned at least one distinction. And at the high school level, 5 out of the 6 eligible campuses earned at least one distinction. And so those distinctions, there are 7 distinctions they can earn. It's academic achievement in RLA, academic achievement in math, academic achievement in science, academic achievement in social studies, so those 4 core, top 25% academic growth, and top 25% in closing the gaps, and then post-secondary readiness. And you'll see the number of campuses that received each one of those distinctions. To celebrate, these are the campuses that actually earned the distinctions. So Impact, Sterling, Highlands Junior, Travis, Banuelos, and San Jacinto all earned 1 distinction. Goose Creek Memorial and Lee earned 2 distinctions. Clark and Crockett earned 3 distinctions, and Stewart earned 4 distinctions.
Could I stop your presentation this time and read that again? And could I have the representatives from those campuses stand up when he calls your name?
So the campuses that received 1 distinction: Impact, Sterling, Highlands Junior, Travis, and San Jacinto. 2 distinctions: Goose Creek Memorial and Lee. 3 distinctions: Clark and Crockett. And 4 distinctions: Stewart.
So we're very proud of our progress this year, and we're excited that we're going to be able to celebrate some of our campuses. We're going to recognize them for the following achievements for 24-25. So if you earned an overall rating of A or B, we will be celebrating your campus. If you received a state distinction, they will be celebrated. And we have some campuses who had an overall growth of 5 or more points, and so we'll also be celebrating those campuses.
Okay, so out of our 29 eligible campuses, 17 of them, or 59%, are going to be celebrated. So that's more than half of our campuses are hitting the mark. There's good momentum. There's really due to strong teacher collaboration and intervention strategies and just good, strong leadership. Elementary had 9 out of 16, which is 57% is going to be celebrated. Couple elementaries had double-digit growth. Shout out to Clark, Bowie, and Travis, who had tremendous growth. Our junior high, as Susan said, we know this is an area of focus, but one of our out of 6 are going to be celebrated. We have a great, strong junior high leadership group, and they are up to the challenge. And so we're excited about what's coming that way. Our high schools are 7 out of 7. 100% of our high schools are being celebrated. Well, that's a major accomplishment and just a tremendous work that the high schools continue to do.
All right, so Kevin stole a little bit of my thunder, but it's important enough to celebrate again. So as you see up here, each of the campuses need to be given a shout out. Starting with Asheville Smith, a 9-point growth, and we worked really hard with them this year. And the principal there is a great leader, Miss Gordon. She's doing an excellent job. Banuelos, yes, give it up. Banuelos had one distinction as we celebrated. Bowie had, along with Clark, had the biggest gain last year of 21 points overall in growth. So Principal Bowie is Mr. McLemore. And then at Clark, Ms. Scheidt. So great job. Also at Carver Elementary, another campus we've been working really closely with, had an 8-point growth. Crockett, yeah, great job, Carver. Ms. Anawan's campus received a B and 3 distinctions. Yes. De Zavala had a 10-point growth. Sanjak had 1 distinction. And our second largest growth is Travis with 19 points and also distinction. Great job, Travis. Dr. Lanius. I'm gonna jump back to Clark. We mentioned that they had a 21-point growth, but also they had that 3 distinctions, which I think is important to recognize as well. Highlands Junior, 1 distinction. Goose Creek Memorial, a B with 2 distinctions. Impact has an A with 1 distinction. Lee, a B with 2 distinctions. Peter E. Highland, now the Empire Academy, has an A. Sterling with a B and 1 distinction. Stewart with an A and 4 distinctions. And our virtual academy had a 9-point growth this year. So we're really excited about that. And as Ms. Jackson said, we are doing great, but we are looking forward to even more growth this year.
Any questions for the team? Okay, we tried to sail through this for you.
Thank you very much, team. Our next presentation will be from benefits, be giving us an update about what the future looks like for benefits of all employees in Goose Creek. Dr. Ellen Akers will be joined by Bridget Clark, our CFO.
Okay, good evening, President Campisi, Dr. O'Brien, board, thank you for having us. This will be short and sweet because it's getting real close to my bedtime. But I think I have really great news for you tonight, and I think you're going to be very pleased with what we have. So it is time to renew our medical and our voluntary products. I actually did not include a slide, but I did want to let you know that our voluntary products, which is like our cancer, accident, disability, FFGA has done an amazing job for us, and they locked in a 3-year guarantee for me on those rates. So all of those products will stay exactly the same, and there'll be no rate increase for our employees on those products. So very happy, and they did a phenomenal job on our enrollment last year. They'll be doing that this year with the communications and our on-site enrollers at every single location in the district. So I'm very excited to continue to work with them. Their customer service has been outstanding. So as we looked at our medical plan and making a decision, these are some of the numbers that we look at. And without going into the weeds, essentially we look at how many members we have covered, and then we take those claims, divide that out, and determine what is our per employee per month cost. So when I came to you last year, we anticipated that our per employee per month cost would be about $949. We have run our projections based on 7 months worth of claims through July. It looks like that is going to come in lower at $913. So it looked like when we met last fall, the district was going to need to subsidize about 40% of our plan for about $6.8 million. The newest projections are showing that we're going to come in about $800,000 under budget, with that at about $6 million. So very excited with that. Again, big shout out to Blue Cross, Blue Shield, and to Gallagher. They have both provided outstanding customer service for us. So as we begin to look at this year, please keep in mind that the industry analysts are saying that medical insurance premiums are going to go up at least 10% in perpetuity. So we know that the cost of medical care is going to continue to rise, and that was forefront in our mind. We were trying to design a plan that would maintain integrity for our employees and still be affordable for us as a district. So as we looked at next year, our first projection for 2026, you can see that the estimated cost, and this is based on a 6.9% medical increase and a 12.1% pharmacy increase, looks like that per employee per month cost would be about $1,043, meaning the district would have to subsidize about $9.2 million. But there is good news. That good news is, as you remember, 5 years ago, we opted out of TRS. The rates were going up dramatically. I think at that time, it's my understanding, the board said, let's do something else, because they were, not only were the rates going up, they really were not transparent about why. This is our year. So when we opted out of TRS, we were locked out for 5 years. And this is our year to rejoin if we wish to. And here's what I want you to notice about that. So if you look at our projection for January 1st, if we run a short plan year through August 31st, we're still going to have that $9.2 million that we're going to have to subsidize. But effective September 1st of next year, when we could move into TRS, we would move from being self-insured to being fully insured. And if you look at that bottom line number, the additional district subsidy on the fully insured, you can see how much money that we would be able to save. So first I want to talk about, so we talked about if, with your blessing, we move to TRS next fall, what could we do to make this transition easiest for our employees? And in working with Gallagher and Blue Cross, we're able to maintain our plans exactly as they are. So we'll continue to offer the high deductible PPO and the standard and enhanced HMO. Typically, when a district is trying to control costs, one of the things they'll do is pass that on to their employees through higher deductibles, higher out-of-pocket, higher family maximums. We are proposing tonight that we do none of these things, that we have no changes for our employees and our plan design. And even more exciting, and I think the thing our employees would be the most excited for, is that we would have no rate increase. So for one of the first times, their raise would actually be a raise this year, which would be very, very exciting. So if we do that, and we move to TRS, just a little information that I wanted to show you about what that might look like. Now here's the caveat. TRS is going out for proposal this fall. They will not make a decision on what their plan will be until their February board meeting. We do have to opt in before December 31st, but I can pretty much assure you that every district surrounding us that opted out like we did will opt back in. So I think you'll see a lot of continuity in the medical plans around us. And because we won't have to subsidize that $9 million, then we'll be able to make adjustments on what the district contribution is to try to keep those premiums very affordable for our employees. And we haven't increased that amount in quite some time, so that would be something we would want to look at. Looking at what they have, their premiums have been and what their rate growth has been for the past 3 years from 23 to 25. You see those numbers there. Their primary plan is comparable to our standard, the primary plus comparable to enhanced, and the high deductible like our high deductible. So if we moved in right now, if we were able to, on the bottom portion of that slide, you can see what the increase for our employees would be in premium. Looking at the two plans, you'll see that they're very comparable. Actually, many of the deductibles and out-of-pocket expenses are less on the TRS plan for our employees. But what I think is most telling is when you look here, if we were to move, again, for illustrative purposes, estimating what those premiums might be based on industry increases, you'll see the ones in red, so our employees on the high deductible plan, this would be their increase if we were able to do it right now. But everything you see in green, which is primarily our employees who have their spouses and children and families covered, they would actually pay less in their premiums. So the green means that the premium would be less for them. The red means it would be higher. And again, we would have the flexibility on our district contribution to go in and make up some of those differences as well. And then I do have an appendix for you that just lists, it's the same information I have shared with you before previously, just on what other districts offer and what those plans look like. So what we're asking tonight, as you look at the agenda items to vote on, the action items are that we run a short plan year, which would be from January 1st until August 31st, continuing with our Blue Cross Blue Shield product and our voluntary products, keeping the premiums and the plan designs the same, and then moving into TRS next fall. Do you have any questions for us?
Well done.
Thank you.
One quick question. Moving back into TRS, will we get the same assurance that they would give us again? Like it would be like they would maintain for so many years or so much time, the pricing that they have? They won't give us any guarantees?
I doubt it. The last I heard, the claims they paid for this past year were in the neighborhood of $250 billion. So I imagine they'll probably have rate increases each year, just as we would if we continued as a self-insured entity.
Right. But they will, but I think notification should be better with them and communications after everybody opt out of them and coming back. Did they come to you about coming back and kind of give you a better
Yes,
feel
and
of what
yes,
they were gonna do
indeed.
better?
They basically sent the district notification that we were eligible to opt back in September 1st of next year. I am attending a webinar this Friday to get more information, and I can continue to update that for you as we get it.
I think an important point that Dr. Akers made was when the TRS rates began to spike, they had been pretty stable, 1 or 2 percentage points difference from year to year for several years. And then when the board took this action 5 years ago or more, the rates had gone up 10% for 3 consecutive years without notification, without explanation. It just went up. And it was based upon claims, so we don't question the states or the TRS's need to do so, but it was very, very poorly explained to school districts, many of whom, I know over 100 school districts pulled out and went with self-insured. So it was worth the effort to try to save our employees money on their insurance costs. However, as we have piloted various programs, it's come out to about the same as it would have been if we'd have stayed. So going back seems like a logical thing to do because it provides stability for the school district and it provides consistency for employees.
I think the key part of that is the shift of the risk. Right now, as a self-funded entity, we are assuming all the risk. And you know, a couple of premature babies and a heart transplant, and you're really in trouble in that claims area. But by shifting to TRS, that shifts the risk to them and hopefully allows us to have funds to do more things for our students and our teachers. All right, thank you so much.
Thank y'all.
All right, and that concludes superintendent reports. We will move on to item 7, action items. Dr. O'Brien?
Yes, as the board has been presented, action item 7A is consideration to approve the agreement between the Office of the Governor, Goose Creek Consolidated Independent School District, and NRG Cedar Bayou 5 LLC for limitation on taxable value for school district maintenance and operations ad valorem taxes, and acknowledge the guarantee agreement between the Office of the Governor and NRG Energy, Inc. This is the item that we have discussed previously that was formerly termed as a 313 agreement and is now termed as a 403 agreement. And it is at the pleasure of the board on whether to take action to authorize this agreement between the governor and the business entity.
Thank you, Dr. O'Brien. What is the pleasure of the board on 7A?
I'll move to approve the agreement.
I'll second.
I have a motion to approve the agreement by Mrs. Guy and a second by Mr. Martinez. Any discussion on this item? Hearing none, all in favor, show of hands. Seeing 6-4, motion passes. Dr. O'Brien, 7B, consideration of a consent agenda.
Yes, Mr. President, you may notice there's several principals in the audience this evening. They've been here. We're glad they were here to receive some accolades and recognition, but they'll also be here to answer any questions that may come up during the consent agenda. If not, principals, you would be dismissed after this next vote, but I'll bring before the board at this time action item 7B, consideration of consent. Number 1, 2526 District Campus Improvement Plans. Number 2, Senate Bill 12, resolution relating to parental rights in public education. Number 3, recommended 2530 District Strategic Plan as presented. Number 4, 2026 medical and supplemental insurance rates. Number 5, reentry into TRS medical insurance effective September 1st, 2026. Number 6, School Health Advisory Council, our SHAC member appointments, roster included. Number 7, proposed revision to EHDC local, alternative methods for earning credit, credit by examination without prior instruction, as proposed. Number 8, adoption of resolution regarding extracurricular status of 4-H members in Chambers County and Harris County and consideration of them as adjunct faculty agreement resolution, nominating the candidates for a position on the, sorry, I ran that two things together, adjunct faculty agreement as presented. And then number 9, the consent agenda item, resolution nominating candidates for a position on the board of directors of the Harris Central Appraisal District. Number 10, resolution of the Goose Creek CISD Board of Trustees for the purpose of nominating a representative to serve on the Chamber County Appraisal Board of Directors and casting votes via attached certification of ballot. Number 11, participation in the interlocal agreement between Region 4 Education Service Center and Goose Creek CISD. Number 12, delegate an alternate to the 2025 Texas Association of School Boards, TASB Delegate Assembly. Number 13, 90-day extension of CSP for audiological, audiometric equipment, supplies, and related services. Number 14, 90, that would be 90-day extension for RFP annual fire extinguisher, kitchen inspection, and related services. And finally, number 15, tax refunds as presented to the board. The administration brings before the board this consent agenda proposing that they be approved, all items.
Thank you, Dr. O'Brien. Are there any items that any board member would like to pull for discussion or separate consideration at this time? Ms. Brat-Timms, I'll start with you.
Yes, 7B6, full for consideration for further, I have some questions on it.
I'm sorry, give me that number one more time.
B7.
B7, B6.
I'm sorry.
On the shack.
Pull. Okay, any other items?
No.
Mr. Sampson?
I lost it.
I'll come back to you. Mr. Clem?
No.
Mr. Martinez? Ms. Guy? I'm back to you, Mr. Sampson.
It was about the property.
It's not a part of the consent.
Are you referring to real property?
Yeah, the
7A?
let's forget it. Let's move on.
All right, on item number 6, Ms. Brat-Timms, is that a quick question or just totally
Well, just
separate?
an observation. Well, one question is I want to know, when was on the selection, the group that was selected on it?
We have Ms. Amanda Kennington that's here this evening to talk to us about the SHAC committee and how they were selected.
Okay. When was the last time that we had updated this list?
I want to know that there is a correction. I want to respect that. I noticed on there, if you look at the correction will be Miss Amy Malloy is on there twice. Milan is on there twice. There was an update to that as of today. The nominations committee did see that and note that and replaced a new name on there, Melissa Serta. So there is a parent that's not on there. I do have a copy of that list for you all.
Right. Well, my concern is that when I look at the numbers and the district numbers of representation, and when I look at my district are 2 people out of the whole list, and some of the other districts don't have any representation, I think that we need to be mindful of that because 2 districts have 11 people. So that's 22 people out of the list that only represents just 2 districts out of 7 of us. So I kind of would like to, because I don't even remember if I submitted anything. So Dr. O'Brien, when I submitted you the list earlier today so fast, that's why, because I didn't see much representation from my area, and 2 other areas didn't have any representation.
Yeah, this doesn't sound like it's a quick
I'm not saying a quick fix, I'm just bringing it to the attention that we need to be mindful of that. And as we move forward with committees, then, and we need to be mindful as a board. If you asked us for those names, then I'm fine with that. But I don't remember being asked recently.
Okay. Do me a favor, don't go anywhere. I want to address items 1 through 5 and 7 through 15, and we'll come back to number 6. Sit tight for just a second, please. What is the pleasure of the board for 1 through 5?
Move to approve 1 through 5 and 7 through 15 as presented.
Second.
Who was my second?
I second it.
Okay. I have a motion by Mr. Clem to approve consent agenda items 1 through 5 and 7 through 15 with a second by Ms. Barat Timms. Is there any discussion on these items? Hearing none, all in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Seeing 5, 4, 0 against and 1 abstention, the consent agenda passes. Let's go back to item number 6. What is the pleasure of the board on item number 6?
No, I was just making a point, that's all. I don't have to.
No, and
Yeah.
many of these, I just want to point out, I have the same concern every
Okay.
time, and so.
They're all leaving. Yeah, they're all, let's wave bye to everyone.
Sorry, principals.
Many of the unknowns.
I'm sorry, let me interrupt.
Yes.
Let's go back to parliamentary procedure. Let's not discuss this anymore unless we have a motion and a second, or if administration needs to pull it and bring it back to us. So what is the pleasure of the board at this time?
We can have questions before a motion.
Yeah, it's just questions before a motion.
Okay, carry on.
Okay.
Our first meeting is not until October, so we still have some time, and we do have some open spaces as according to our SHAC bylaws. So we do have some open spaces. If you have recommendations, we're definitely still open to taking more members. We sent out the communication twice on Parent Square, and at the SHAC annual report, we provided those applications paper. It's been on our website as well. We also met with or emailed all of the campus CSHACs, our campus school health advisory committees, and requested parents. That's kind of where that latest list kind of came from, because we do have additional spaces.
Okay.
But the proposed member list as of right now is a majority parents. Some of those unknowns were ones that they just did not provide. And to answer the question specifically on your district, I looked at the schools specifically in the district, and there is representation as according to the schools, just maybe not where their home address was. So we did try to combat that.
Appreciate
as well.
that. Thank you. You answered it perfectly. Yeah. So we can move to approve it. I'm okay.
Is that a motion?
Yeah.
Okay, I have a motion by Ms. Barat Timms to approve and a second by Mr. Clem to approve item 7B6, School Health Advisory Council. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Seeing 5, 4, 0 against and 1 abstention, the motion passes.
Thank you, Ms. Kennington, for the clarification.
Thank you.
I know I got one.
We'll move on to item C, future board agenda items, board training, board meetings. We'll start with future board agenda items. And I'll open it up to the entire floor.
Okay. I missed my point, so.
Okay, we'll start Ms. Brattim's future board agenda items.
Yes, I would like to look at one future item that I would like for us to put on our board agenda. Let me find my notes. And that is, hang on, give me a second. Okay, I want to look at reviewing our board operation procedure under BDAA, and it was updated back in 6/9/22. I would like for that to be on as an agenda item that we can discuss and look at that particular
Would you
item.
call it one more time, please?
It is review the board operating procedures under BDAA.
And what specifically is that policy?
That is, hang on.
I'll locate it.
Yeah,
I'll
it gave me that when I went on our website, so I'm sorry. But I
Yes,
knew,
ma'am. Not a problem. I just needed the specific letters.
okay.
Well, the reason why I was asking is board operating procedures are coming up. We're going to set a date on that and move forward with that. Does it still need to be brought as an agenda item prior to?
No, but it does, it's something we need to look at and then vote on, because I would like to make a recommendation
of the
for.
review.
Yeah, inclusive of that as a review.
So would it be acceptable to leave this as part of the team of 8 board operating procedures at this time, or do you want it on the agenda separate?
That's fine. Yeah.
The first, as
Yes.
part of BOPs? Okay, thank you. Any other future agenda items? Mr. Sampson, Mr. Clem, Mr. Martinez, Mrs. Guy. All right, let's move on to board training. Beginning September 11th through 14th, we will be attending Texas EdCon 25. It is in Houston this time, so that is pretty awesome. Is there any discussion on that? Is everyone let Ms. Garcia know if you're going and whether or not you need accommodations?
I will have your packets about ready for y'all to.
Okay, Ms. Garcia is indicating that our packets are ready tonight.
Also, all of us who went last Wednesday for the post-ledge workshop, turn your report card in, Ms. Garcia.
Mine is in my truck, Ms. Garcia. I'll bring it back into you. I didn't want to forget it.
Not in the bed, is it?
No, it's in the console up front. That's where I left it.
Mustard.
Very good. I understand also Goose Creek provided us with a shirt tonight. I would like those of us attending EdCon 25 to bring that shirt with you. Once I have a head count of who's going to be there, I would like a group photo opportunity on a certain day on the stage and really represent Goose Creek with that. So make sure and bring your shirt. And myself or Dr. O'Brien will put out the date and time that we'll wear those shirts and really show Goose Creek pride. Anything else on Texas EdCon?
Well, we get a shout out if all 8 of us are there, so that'd be cool.
We do. Okay, so. Okay. Okay. All right. Along the lines of board training on item C2B, I'd like to select a date and an alternate for the Team of 8 training in October, and that theme will be the board operating procedures. As we all know, this is something that is crucial to the functionality of our board, and it's something we've been working on for a little while. Now it's time to take it across that finish line. I'm really looking at dates in October. Obviously, it'll have to be in the evening, and we could expect it to be a 3-hour meeting workshop format. Does anyone have any blackout dates for that? Obviously, Thompson and Horton knocked out one of our prime dates, but that's important.
I can't do the 13th or 14th either.
Let's start by throwing out dates we can do. 7th and 8th is potential?
The 7th is National Night Out, if you participate in that, which I do.
Okay, so.
I could do the 8th.
8th, any objections to the 8th? Of course, this is contingent on our 8th member that's not here right now. Mr. Martinez is recommending a Friday.
No.
And they're Saturdays.
Hell no.
I heard expletive no multiple times.
Yeah, just whatever.
The 8th, I'd like to propose an alternate. We have 3 potential facilitators for this meeting. On what date? On the 8th. Is a yes or a no? He's a yes. Okay. Is there another potential date, maybe a little further into October?
28th.
Does anyone have?
Is that in that window?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, duh. Sorry.
What about the week of the, about the October 15th or 16th?
Fall break, just a reminder.
I can't do the 14th.
All right.
So the 8th.
So let's push it one. I don't want to go too deep into November.
Yeah, the 22nd. Be the alternate.
How does the 22nd sound?
Isn't that the first round? Is that the first round of interviews?
20th and 21st is the first.
20th through the 25th. That whole week.
Every day?
At least 3 days.
Going by the
20th through
schedule.
the 25th is the first round, and then that next week is the second round.
So let's look at November, the first week of November, because that's where a lot of the behind-the-scenes work will be going on by Thompson and Horton. What is that looking like for everybody? That would be November 3rd through 7th.
Do we have a meeting the 3rd?
Is that right?
Nope, it's on the 10th.
Oh, it's on the 10th. Oh, that's right, because we're naming a finalist.
So the 3rd through the 7th.
3rd.
What day?
I could do that.
So the 3rd,
Monday the 3rd.
the 4th is Wetlands Center Gala, and the 5th is CISD meeting at Region 4.
So I'd leave the 6th.
So the 3rd is the only clear date that week.
Monday?
Okay. Will they be 6 o'clock meetings or 5 o'clock meetings or?
Okay, so let's set the alternate is November 3rd, Ms. Garcia. This will be a lot of work for you. We need to confirm with Mr. Entry if he's available for either of those. And then also, I've directed Ms. Garcia to proceed with TASB for this training. Ms. Guy, if you, as our chair, would work with Ms. Garcia on selecting the facilitator for that. She has some information for you.
Okay.
All right, that wasn't as bad as I thought it was. All right, C3, board meetings. The next board meeting will be September 22nd at 6 p.m. right here, followed by October 6th, November 10th, and December 15th. Please keep in mind this board will be engaged in other meeting opportunities and requirements with Thompson and Horton, specifically related to the superintendent search process. All right. The board will now recess into closed session pursuant to one or more of the following sections of the Texas Government Code, sections 551.071, 072, 073, 074, 075, 076, 082, 083, 084, 087, and 089. Make sure I covered them all. No action will be taken while the board is in closed session. The time is now 8:21. The board will now reconvene in open session. The time is now 9:52 p.m. No action was taken while the board was in closed session. We are now on item F, consideration of personnel. Dr. O'Brien.
Yes, at this time, administration brings before the board for approval the elections and resignations and retirements that have been presented over the last month of the summer.
I'll move to approve resignations and elections.
A second.
I have a motion by Mrs. Guy and a second by Ms. Barat-Timms to approve the elections and resignations as presented. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Seeing 6, 4, and 0 against, the motion carries.
Administration does have a few administrative elections to present to the board for approval. Number 3A, Campus Athletic Coordinator, Head Football Coach.
Move to approve.
Let me hold my...
Hire somebody.
Let's add some
failed to be
information
on the
to
right
that.
page. It's not fire extinguishers for the kitchen. Hold on just a moment.
Keep it on standby though, Ms. Barat-Timms. We're ready.
We're trying to get out before 10.
Exactly.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Oh.
A filibuster's coming.
Yeah, no, 24 hours.
He's already doing it.
My apologies, y'all.
Yeah, I guess we the oldest one up here. Take us the longest to do it.
One more page.
198.
Thank you. That person would be Roger Sutterfield as coordinator of campus athletics and head football coach at Lee High School.
Do it again. Move to approve coordinator for at Lee High School.
I second the motion.
I have a motion by Ms. Barat Timms and a second by Mr. Sampson. I heard you first, Mr. Sampson. Thank you for this hire. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by a show of hands. Seeing 6, 4, and 0 against, the motion carries.
Administration recommends assistant principal at Sterling High School, Clyde J. Petrie.
I'll move to approve the Sterling High School AP.
Second?
I have a motion by Mrs. Guy and a second by Mr. Clem. Is there any further discussion on this item? Mr. Sampson says no, and hearing none. All in favor, please signify by a show of hands. Seeing 6, 4, and 0 against, the motion carries.
As instructional specialist for mathematics, K through 5, Samantha T. Hernandez.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Mr. Clem and a second by Mrs. Guy for this hire. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, please signify by a show of hands to approve. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Seeing 5, 4, 0 against, and 1 abstention, the motion passes.
In consideration of Rachel Jarrow as instructional specialist, science.
I move to approve.
Second?
I have a motion by Mr. Martinez and a second by Mr. Clem to approve this item. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? And seeing 6, 4, and 0 against, the motion passes.
Consideration of authorization to negotiate, authorizing the superintendent or his designee to enter into negotiation with property owners for the purpose of tracts adjacent to existing GCCISD campuses.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Clem and a second by Mrs. Barat Timms to approve item G. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Seeing 6, 4, and 0 against, the motion passes.
H, consider superintendent search process timeline and related matters with search consultants and related action, if any.
I make a motion that we approve the process and timeline as presented tonight.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Clem and a second by Ms. Helen Barat Timms to approve the timeline and guidelines as presented tonight for the superintendent search. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please signify by a show of hands. Seeing 6, 4, and 0 against, the motion passes. That concludes our business for today. We are adjourned at 9:56 p.m. Thank you for coming.
All right, who thinks it's my birthday?